Warning: the following video may have language that some viewers may find offensive, and others are already offended. Viewer discretion is advised, but not really. No animals were hurt in the making of this 4-hour feature film.
That you wear your heart on your sleeve. Love how you make me aware, make me wanna believe I can be your rock, I can be your rolling stone. There ain't no moss on this boat, baby, no time to be alone. We've got just 1 hour to last a whole lives through. Lay your head on my chest, wanna share my eye with you. You smile at every stranger, cherish every friend. Shout I love you, then tomorrow do it all again. Those birds don't fly unless they flap their wings. This guitar makes no sound unless I plug these strings. We've got just 1 hour to last a whole lives through. Lay your head on my chest, I wanna share my eye with you. You are a magnet, I'm iron dust. You don't rain on me, so I don't run. We have to take the bad with the good. Doesn't always turn out the way we think it should. I believe in love, one is half of two. Holding hands, wedding bands, I believe in you. We've got just 1 hour to last a whole lives through. Lay your head on my chest, I wanna share my eye with you. I wanna share my eye with you.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining me here on the Full Monty, the video podcast that we shoot right here in St. Thomas, Ontario. Now we got a kind of a local legend sitting here in the studio. He probably won't admit it, but a lot of people know him. He's an entertainer, music. Got a pretty good band, I would say. Not too bad. He was a letter carrier for a lot of years, and so there are a lot of you folks out there that might know him from Canada Post coming to your house.
I've delivered to every single address in the city.
There you go. Every single address, okay. 14 years. He got a band called Jumbo Train started. So they've been running a lot of years. So we want to welcome to our little studio here, Dennis Kalichuk.
Well, thank you very much, Tony.
Thanks, Dennis. It's so cool to have you in here. So Dennis, let's start off. We ask everybody, Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Born in Brantford, Ontario. Grew up in Paris, just down the road. I think we moved when I was 5. Parents built a little house up there. Beautiful town, extremely popular now and growing like crazy. But yeah. I was in Paris till I was about 20, and then moved to London. Just had no plans, had no job. I put everything that I owned in my van and drove to London, got an apartment, and
wow.
And
what was the
from there.
attraction for London? What made you just?
My sister was there,
Okay.
so I had some family,
Oh,
and
cool.
they had some buildings, an apartment building, so I was able to rent an apartment from them. So that was what drew me there, and
Okay.
I did a few fun things. I disc jockeyed until I found my place, and I landed a job as a writer-producer at CFPL TV.
Oh, you really?
I was there
I never did that.
for 8 years. It was absolutely fantastic. The Blackburns
Yeah.
owned it, if people are familiar with the Blackburn group, and they were just a fantastic
So,
family.
writer, were you doing like some of their shows they were doing?
No,
or for
writer
news?
producer in the marketing promotions department. So I was the
Okay.
guy when you said watch Knots Landing at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I made that spot.
Okay,
And then
okay,
handled
yeah.
our events outside of the TV station. It was,
Oh,
it was a
well,
fantastic experience.
Isn't that cool? I never knew that about
It
you.
was. Well, I was in television. That was the prime time. This was before cable. We had virtually very little competition in the area. You know, our
Yeah.
newscasts had 250,000 viewers every night. It was crazy. And our sales department, they didn't have to go out knocking on doors. They just took orders on the phone, and the station was
Yeah,
sold
people
out.
were calling in.
Yeah. To buy advertising.
Yeah,
So there was.
yeah.
So in other words, it was very fun and easy because they were making money. We were having a lot of fun, doing a lot of creative programming,
Oh, cool.
and then then VCRs and renting movies came in, and then cable, and there was competition. And when I was there, we had about 160 employees. They're down to just a skeleton crew now.
Yeah.
Really sad. So that whole thing has changed, same as in newspapers, everything else. But
That's.
I was lucky to be there when I was.
Yeah, times really have changed because I did a lot of work with a studio, or it was a company out of California, Sherman Oaks. So on A&E was the show Intervention.
Okay.
And I was a camera guy
Oh,
on
fun.
that show. So when they would come up and do, not the Canada version,
Right.
the Intervention Canada,
Nope.
it was awful.
No.
I didn't like that show. But the American one, the interventionist, I call him the old guy with the beard.
Oh, is that-
Jeff is his name. He's
Oh,
the
okay.
interventionist. I was his camera guy. I was camera
Oh,
C.
fun.
So every time you would see the close-ups, that would be me doing those shows. So
Oh, gotcha.
whenever they get Toronto, Brampton, Brantford, when they were shooting that area, I would get a call from California. And actually, the sound guy that we had, that was Tim Costin. Tim Costin is, do you remember the Jackass crew with Ryan Dunn and all those guys? Well,
Okay.
that's who he was.
Oh,
Tim was
gotcha.
part of those guys.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, if you YouTube him, I can't tell you what he does on
Is
there.
that right?
It's pretty. There's some pretty crude stuff. But,
Oh, no.
me and Tim sat up one night and had pizza and beer. We had to be on set at 6 a.m. And at 4 a.m., Tim and I are still sitting up drinking. And anyway, I get up I go back to the room. I come down at 6, and the producer, Carl was his name, and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh my God, what have you done?" He said, "You look horrible."
Oh, no.
And I said, "Oh man, we sat up all night with Tim." I said, "What a hoot that guy!"
Yeah,
is.
but
I
you
mean, he
made
was
a
so
good
hilarious.
memory, right?
Yeah,
So it was worth
and
it.
then he said, "Well, you know who he is, don't you?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "Then that's how he told me." I was
Oh,
like,
gotcha.
"Really? Oh, wow." So yeah,
I
it
only
was-
see 4 a.m. now when I'm getting up at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.,
Don't
yeah.
make it through the night.
Yeah. Well, you're actually, so all the years, well, I guess let's progress on. So from London, what made you come down to St. Thomas?
It was the 25% more life
Was
at
it?
the
That-
time. It was a
Yeah.
house price. We had a tiny little house in East London.
Okay.
It was fun. I mean, tiny house. It took a couple of years to sell, and when we sold it, I remember I was up. Okay, maybe I was close to 4 a.m. that night because I was online looking for houses. Now that our house finally sold, And we kind of had in mind an old Victorian style house, just because it's always been really attractive to me, like the history and the feel of houses like that.
Yeah.
Those style of homes in Old North London, definitely out of our budget at the time, and one popped up in St. Thomas. I gotta tell you, didn't know a lot about St. Thomas at the time, because when you lived in London, there was no real reason at the time to come here. You passed by it on the way to the beach, to Port Stanley. I rode my bicycle to here a couple times, but didn't know a lot about St. Thomas. So, but the house price was quite incredible for the looks of the house.
Wasn't it?
It was. So we came down, and our real estate agent was from London, and she said, and didn't have a lot of experience dealing with St. Thomas properties. She said, well, for that price, be prepared. It must be, in rough shape. And so we came and we're walking around, and this house is beautiful. We love it. Love the neighborhood, the old courthouse neighborhood, which didn't know a lot about at the time.
Right.
But it was pretty much exactly what we were looking for. And our agent even said, I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't buy this house, I'm buying it. She said, I will buy this house at this price. Got to it, and the owners just received an offer like 2 hours before we got there.
Yeah.
But then the owner came over to me, and she said, don't go too far, because I don't know if they're going to be able to swing the financing. Sure enough, we got a call the next day. He said, yep, the deal fell through. He's still interested? He said, absolutely. So, that was 22 years ago now, and I haven't looked back. We love this place.
Did you find it like I did? That's the same thing here. I've been here about 20 years now, and I just found it was a very home feeling.
Yeah.
The people were just so friendly.
Yeah.
I guess it's like everything else, Dennis. Mm-hmm. You get back what you put in, right? So,
sure.
The volunteering, working at Rogers TV years ago, filming council, getting to know people, drove cab for 13 years,
That's
right?
right?
Cox cabs and then your taxi.
Yeah.
Worked in the office, did wheelchairs. So I got to know a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made it. I guess it don't matter where you live. If you stay, don't associate, don't go out, don't do things, you're not. It's kind of a sheltered life, right?
Yeah, we ended up making many really good friends very quickly, and there's still friends.
Now, were you musically, like in playing guitar and all that kind of stuff then, or what?
Okay, as a kid, when I was 13, I was taking classical guitar.
Oh, yeah,
lessons.
okay.
So I started with classical guitar.
Okay.
I was a little nerd playing this classical guitar at the age of 13. When I got a little older as a teen, I got more into learning strumming and a little more pop style of music, and I took lessons, finger style guitar lessons from a guy closer to Hamilton. I won't remember his name, but he actually played on a lot of Gordon Lightfoot albums in the studio, and he added that typical Gordon Lightfoot finger style. So I learned that from him, and I really enjoyed it, and it was a cool finger style, and I still use it today.
Yeah.
And I think I was with him a number of months, a year, and then he sent me home with some homework, and he said, I want you to write something, which I had really done yet. Just write anything, a little ditty, a little intro, a song if you want. So I came back the next week, and it was a little intro to a song, I would say, in fingerstyle. He liked it a lot, and at the end of the lesson, he said, well, the sad news is this is our last lesson, because I can't teach you anymore.
Oh, really?
And I was like, what? I'm sure you can, but But anyway, so it was cool to see someone so honest like that. And his basic thing was teaching that fingerstyle method.
Oh, wow. So what did you find then? Like my son is into classical, and he on piano.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
On the keyboard, and he's been writing his own stuff too.
Is that right?
It totally amazed me that he fell in love with classical. I mean, and he taught piano for quite a while. I think he's 28 now. Mm-hmm. But when he was living out in Oakville area, he had a little classroom thing set up, and he was teaching whoever wanted to. Yeah. Okay. So, he's like my brother. He's just self-taught.
Oh yeah.
My brother. Oh my God! It didn't matter what instrument. You could be piano to drums to guitar, whatever, and then hear it.
Is that right?
And then just play it.
See,
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of that.
Yeah, my
that's
brother.
that's
My brother
amazing.
one time years ago, I remember, he had an audition with the Nylons.
Is that right?
And that group in
yeah.
Toronto, he lived in Toronto,
Yeah, okay.
and he didn't go.
No,
No, he didn't go. He
Oh,
just
no.
he said he won a lot of awards for singing
Yeah.
when he was younger, going
Okay.
through Glee Club and everything in Mitchell. And, yeah,
No, I forgot about the Nylons until just now.
yeah, the Nylons.
But as a segue out of that writing story, so then I really put music and the guitar down for a lot of years
Did ya?
from that early time. I really didn't do anything with it until my son, he got into drumming, and he's a good drummer. And I was talking to him. I thought, well, maybe I'll go buy some pawn shop cheap guitar and see if I can remember and relearn some chords, and we can play together. And
Yeah.
that was, I was in my 50s then.
Oh,
That's when I
wow,
came
okay.
back.
Wow.
And I remembered, I was just fooling around the guitar, and I remembered that little riff that my teacher had
Okay.
me write. And
Right,
I remember.
right.
And from there, I went into a song, and I ended up writing my first song based on that riff that I wrote from when I was like 16 years old, and recalled it. And it was just such a light bulb creative thing for me, just because I enjoyed that I made something, as
Yeah.
people do that make original things. And so I just
Uh,
kept on writing, and just coincidentally, I had some really good friends that were real musicians, not like me. They were real musicians. I'm a bit of an imposter musician, but when I was with those guys, and I was so thrilled that even though I would say I was a beginner,
Yeah.
they were totally supportive, and they jumped on board with me. And they're the guys who played
wow.
on the 4 albums that we created, and
Yeah.
and a couple of the singles, and they're beautiful
well,
guys.
I certainly wouldn't knock yourself down. You guys are really good.
Yeah,
I
they're
do.
really good.
Like I don't play any instruments, anything like that, but I've been in the music world for quite a few years now, being band manager for the Ring of Fire Johnny Cash experience, and Jamie Warren, hooked up with him last spring, and we did a Legion tour.
Okay.
I was helping him book shows. So yeah,
Nice.
musically inclined. No, I'm not. but I've been kind of in the background of all that stuff,
Okay.
right? And I've watched your videos. The last couple stuff, actually, we're gonna play a couple here on the
great.
thing here,
Okay.
so we'll get it out
Okay,
there. But
thanks.
enjoyed it. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, good. Appreciate
I
it.
mean, it's when Lawrence Lalone Double L was kind of going around and doing some shows, but I mean, it was such a fun show.
Yeah.
And I've always said that it
Lawrence.
doesn't matter really if your performance is great, you put on a good show. There are people that can sing. There are people that can't sing. There are people that sing. Not too bad. And it depends on what you sing.
Right.
Find your key. Find that kind of song. Lawrence, my God, what an amazing writer.
Oh.
And I used to tell him all that, Lawrence, I know you're going to watch this show. He's up in Sault Ste. Marie area now,
Yeah.
but I always said before, man, you need to write and sell. He is one of the best writers I've ever, what he can
And
put
he had
together.
a good stage presence too. He's
See, that's
kind
the
of
thing.
fit, good-looking guy, and he, and he connected with the
He
audience.
loved the
Yeah,
people.
was
He
cool.
put on a great show. Him and Animal, Steve Marsden.
Yeah, Steve.
Just the two. Put on a, it was an entertaining show.
Oh, I bet.
It really was. It was a lot of fun. I traveled at one point all over Ontario. Lawrence, we did a promotional video. And so DVDs, so I made them. So it was basically if you owned a bar up in, North Bay. So
Right.
I'm up in North Bay going to these venues, and I'm handing you a DVD.
Oh,
and it would be basically you talking about you,
Right.
your show, and why should you book you.
Oh, great idea.
And
Better
that's what
than
I
a
did.
business card. Eh?
Yeah. And I handed all these out to everybody, and that's kind of how we got him touring around too, right?
Excellent.
But anyway, so you're playing guitar and that you put it away. You come to St. Thomas. Is this when you join Canada Post?
No, I was already working for Canada Post in London.
Were you? Okay.
Yeah, I put
Transfer.
in a transfer. So I was a full-time artist after I left CFPL TV, and that's basically why I left.
Okay.
So I was a painter, and I was working in my little
I want to touch on that
my
too.
little studio in our little house, and I would get a little lonely. And I read an article about, it was actually a London counselor who had a part-time job as a Canada Post casual, and she could kind of pick and choose. And I thought, that might be something nice. So I actually applied and got the job as a casual. And back then, if I didn't want to work for a month because I had an art show coming up and needed to prepare, I could just turn down any of the weekly offers. So it was a great start. And then after a while, then I got offered part-time, and that offered more benefits, and had a family, at the time. So you start thinking about them and your child, and needing to provide and have things available for them. So having the Canada Post gig on the side to being an artist was good in those terms.
Right.
And then after a while, another few years, and I got offered full-time. And because I'm really quick, because I was a marathon runner, being full-time, I was still able to get done in about the same number of hours as I was as a part-timer. So I ended up going full-time.
Wow.
Yeah. I loved it. I had 28 years plus.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed going to work every single day. It was, I really liked it.
The outside work, though, there's something special about it, too.
Yeah, I've always been up for challenges, hence the marathon run thing and everything else.
Okay, so being a letter carrier.
Yeah.
Did you ever carry milk bones with you? You know how
did.
dogs... Did you? I wonder.
Absolutely did. And I love the dogs on my route.
Did you ever get bit?
I didn't love those dogs so much. I got sent to the hospital a couple times.
Did you?
Yeah. It can be dangerous. The biggest danger is there's a reactive or aggressive dog, and people in the summer would open up their inside door and have the screen door shut.
Yeah.
And the number of times that dog would come running, jump up, and their paw would hit the handle just accidentally. Next thing you know, they're right there on the porch. You have no time to react as a carrier, and their teeth is around your hand or your ankle. That's how it happened with me, and I didn't harbor any ill feelings towards
the dogs are
or
doing
the people.
It's their place, right?
It's
their place, but
they're being a dog, and they're protecting.
Dogs are usually a lot nicer than people. But there are still, like people, there are dogs that I think are just born evil.
We just got a dog a couple of weeks ago.
Did you? What'd you get?
Not planning it. We had a black lab he lived to be 18 and a half years, and he's been gone for like 15 years now. But a wonderful young woman moved in directly across the street, and she's a foster home for dogs and an organization. And my wife, Becky, went across the road to talk to her about something else, and she was only there about 10, 15 minutes. She came back and said, "You have to go across the street and meet the dog, Sarge." Just stole her heart in about 10 minutes. So then I did, and he did the same thing to me, and we just transitioned over a couple
What
of weeks.
is he?
He's a boxer English pointer mix. So I'm
Okay.
jealous of the people with the nice, well-behaved dogs who walk beside them. He is not that. He is a puller. He takes me for a walk.
Dude.
He barks at all the bikes and the dogs going
How
by.
old?
He's just turned 3, but
Okay.
he loves people. Every single person.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that's another new adventure. And
That's cool.
Great. Yeah, it is. Cool.
They are so much in your heart,
Absolutely. We're refining that out again.
I always get really sad when I think about dogs, because I always think an animal that is so pure just wants nothing but love, gives love, and they get such a rip on life.
They do. That's what we were thinking.
Like really 10 years.
Yeah, this guy's got 7, 8 years.
You get a
left.
freaking turtle that'll live 110, or a parrot.
Well, they know how to not use any
A
excess
cat
energy.
will go 20, sometimes a little more, but still, why dogs? And then I've heard the old saying that the reason why dogs don't live so long is because they're here to teach us what they've, just pureness and love. They've
nice.
already got that, right? So they're here for that short time to teach us that it's just about love and commitment.
Gotcha.
And they go.
That's a nice way to look
so
at
they
that.
don't have to stick around long.
Yeah, nice way to look at it. Thank you.
It's just, I've had dogs my whole life, right? And,
I hear ya.
we had a couple of rescues, 2 years roughly each one, and we lost them.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a Scottish Retriever. She's a golden retriever,
I've
and
seen the
she
pictures.
just turned 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's a handful, but
Gotcha.
you talk about people love her. Oh my God.
No doubt.
Wow. So,
No
all
doubt.
right. So let's talk about. Oh, I still can't get over Channel 10. That is so amazing.
It was a good time in my life. It really was. And then I'm still in touch with a number of the people I worked with back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good
Where'd
memories.
George Clark ever go? I know after he left CFPL, he went to Rogers. Because when I was at Rogers, George was doing, I think, First Local in London, it was called, news thing.
But I don't know for sure. There's
Some of the
so
old
many-
time, I remember guys like El McGregor.
Oh, you do, right?
Kate Young.
Yeah, Kate's good.
Neil Stevens. Neil got killed up on Fanshawe Park Road.
Yeah,
years
that
ago.
was a sad time.
Were
That
you
was
you were
really
at the
sad-
studio back then,
sad
probably,
time.
weren't you?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was-
yes, I remember that. I was
sad.
on the news way back then. Kate Young, El McGregor, they were doing a story. It was a rabid fox up in Seaforth area, Kippen actually, and we had a hunt. All the farmers got together, and that made it on the news. Where I actually had my gun and shot. It was a rabid fox. It chased a farmer back into the barn.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was quite a story, and I remember. I can't remember the reporter who came up and talked about that, but I remember when Scott Miller, he's up in Wingham area. When he started. I got to know a lot of the guys, and of course Morgan Baker, who worked producer and everything. He was a camera guy for Channel 10 for a lot of years, and then he came to Rogers. I think he's back there again now.
Is that right?
Yeah. So a lot of history at CFPL.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And they were good to me. They sent me around. I remember sending me to a broadcast marketing conference in Dallas that went for a week. And
really?
It was for independent television stations, which we were a
Yeah,
CBC
that's right.
affiliate, so we carried some of their programming.
Okay.
But still independently owned. And
Now, was television, because I wasn't in it, but was television similar to radio where they had to have so much percentage of Canadian content? Like radio would be,
Yes.
they had to play 20 or 30% had to be Canadian
yes,
content.
yeah, I believe that's correct, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but
It was
yeah,
actually,
for sure.
there was a percentage anyway, but it was actually quite low that had to be Canadian.
Yeah, I think that was Pierre Trudeau who brought that in.
Was that who brought that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Promote Canadian music and Canadian content.
Told the CRTC to
Yeah.
put it in.
Yeah. Of course, as a CBC affiliate, then we had all that Canadian content.
Yeah, you did.
And I think that
You
was
did.
one of the main reasons.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get up into, so letter carrier, you retired?
I have retired.
Yeah.
Yes, I had one of those strange COVID retirements where, bless their heart, we couldn't have a function, because it was COVID, and I just happened to retire during that time. So bless their heart, they organized, even because of COVID, they had staggered start times, but they arranged to go all in together and get every vehicle from the area that we owned, and they did a drive-by.
Oh, did they
past
really?
my house, yeah, and I didn't know it was going to happen, and my wife was in on it, and she said, let's go out on the front porch for
That'd
coffee.
be emotional, eh?
And then they started driving by and honking and waving. They went around the block a couple times, and that was, in its own way, probably a little more special than your standard.
That's cool.
Your standard retirement party.
Yeah.
But they were good folks, and I still miss them.
Oh, I bet. I bet. So, Jumbo Train.
Mm-hmm.
What brought that on? How'd you get the band together?
Good friends with a Kim lad and a Lori lad. Kim's one of the greatest bass players around. He's so fantastic. We had just been at house parties together, our house and their house. Guy Miskelly, fantastic human being, and he's a guitar instructor out of his house. And oh man, if I could play like him, I'd probably never put the guitar down. But
Oh, really?
And another friend, Miles Pinot, he can play everything and anything, but he's mainly on the drums. And then my friend Dean Greer, fantastic vocalist. He came in doing backup vocals. We actually did a 2.5-hour bike ride on the Thames Valley Parkway together yesterday.
Okay.
And so many of us were all neighbors. Just coincidentally. So it was just so easy. It was natural. And like I mentioned before, I was so almost shocked that they were willing, yeah, we can do this with you. And so
Okay.
we put it together, and we played, the songs that I wrote, and they had some input into them musically, and went to the studio. We recorded at Sugar Shack in London.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mostly. We did a couple of songs at a fantastic studio on the Six Nations Reserve.
Did you?
For in the last
Now,
album.
when you've traveled and played at venues, whatever,
We didn't much.
You didn't much?
We didn't much, no.
So just kind
I
of
was-
local here? Is that really where you...
It was mainly a recording act.
Okay, all right. So you
you
weren't
know,
really
it was
out in the
me.
public. You were...
No, we didn't do that a lot. We had our last show was a fantastically fun show at Princess Theater,
Yes.
and that was late November. That was in November, and it was so much fun, and went so well that I was planning to keep on going the next year and apply to some festivals and start touring, and then COVID hit in January.
Yeah.
The January, and that just shut everything down. And my fault. I didn't keep up with playing during that time. It was just, we all remember how weird it was.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of incentive because we didn't know when the end was coming, and never really got going again after that, up to this point. But
So as of right now, you're still not...
haven't, but I have some desires and plans,
I'm
and
sure
some
the itch is going to come
and some
back,
hopes that we can get something revived.
Well, sometimes we get
this year.
sidelined too and start doing things that we never used to do, and then you kind of get wrapped up in that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are busy. I've watched you do paintings and all kinds of stuff too. So we'll touch on that.
Okay.
But you are so active. I remember you going up. Was it the Grand River? Did you do that whole circuit where I've seen pictures of you on your Facebook?
Oh yeah, my wife and I did. There's on the Grand River. There's a place near Brantford called the Oxbow, and it's really cool because you can put in one location. The river goes off for a number of kilometers, winds back around to less than a kilometer where you put in.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and so you can just take out there and literally walk back to your car. And
I remember
come back, get your boat.
You did a selfie with the bridge behind you. It was one of the main roads going into one of the...
Okay, that was just last year. I went on a solo trip. I wanted to do the Grand River from as far up as you could
kayaking.
launch.
Though. That's what you're in, kayaking, right? Yeah.
And I was hoping to get all the way to Lake Erie, but I called it after about 3 days just because it was the temperatures. And
Now that you said Lake Erie, though, the one that really caught me, was it last year you did the bike? You went around the whole entire lake.
That's such a wonderful memory for me personally, because I've been bicycle touring since a friend and I, we did a lot of tours actually when we were in our teens.
Okay.
And then again, I put that aside for a few decades and then hopped back on the
But I mean,
bike.
you're in your 60s and you're doing this now.
I hate hearing it out loud, but yes, I am.
See, there you go. 60.
I hate that. But
You're only as young. It's just a number, right?
yeah. But I just had I'm always looking, where I could go the next bicycle tour, and I thought, wouldn't that be fantastic? If I could get around
that.
Lake
I
Erie.
followed that, dude. I thought that was so fascinating.
Oh, I remember.
watching.
I think you shared the video that I made of it.
Yeah.
It was fun. That was my probably favorite adventure on the bicycle so far, and the latest one. I took off. I was having a few issues health-wise at the time. I wasn't 100% sure how I'd feel, and when the bike is loaded for a tour that long, it was weighing like 120 pounds, which if you've never ridden a bicycle that weighs 120 pounds, it's a different feeling.
Yeah.
And one you have to get used to, and we're on an uphill, you definitely feel it. When you're going downhill, it's like woohoo! But so I just thought I'm going to take off and see how I feel when I get in the Fort Erie area, and it felt fantastic.
Awesome.
So I camped 2 nights on the way to Fort Erie, and then you can go cycle across the Peace Bridge there. They're set up for pedestrian and bicycle crossing, and so went across that bridge and looked over. Well, here I go now. So and then it was quite a few adventures between there.
It reminded me
Detroit.
so much of my dad telling me stories about I guess it'd be about 1945. He was from Belgium.
Oh.
And he was around 14, 15 years old, and he biked across Holland and Belgium and in Germany. And he had a little bike with a tent on the back.
Oh,
and he used to go to the farmers and ask them if he could sleep in the corner of their field. And
That's
they
what
would
my
say, yeah,
teenage
absolutely.
friend and I used to do when we just had the little Canadian Tire tent on the back. And we saw a farmer and they told me, hey, could we just set up our tent? And
most of them were
fantastic.
I would imagine just because you asked, they'd be like, yeah, no problem. How many probably never would ask, just
probably,
just
and
camp
we
out
were
in the
never
bush
turned
somewhere.
down. It was it was good
I
memories too.
really did enjoy that. It was a lot of fun watching that tour go around the canoe or the kayaking. What made you get into kayaking? Did you do that in the younger years, or was that something that you thought?
No, and I said I would call myself a non-swimmer, believe it or not, and I've done so many solo kayak adventures, but I try not to be stupid about it. I don't go out in really rough weather.
Can you roll like go right
I haven't
underneath
perfected rolling, and all the diehards. Oh, you shouldn't be out there solo if you can't do that. But
oh, really? Yeah.
I've never felt.
Are they really easy to tip?
In danger. No, I don't find that. I have not, in the years that I've been kayaking, never gone over accidentally.
Okay.
I feel quite secure and mine's a very narrow sea kayak.
Yeah.
But it handles beautifully. I've just never been in, and I have paddled it just to try in some pretty big waves, but close to shore and just down in port, and it's a great feeling. But how I got into it, I don't know. It was just again, these ideas pop into your head, right? And I just thought,
I want to try that.
Yeah, I wonder if I should try that. So I was looking online. That's how I met my wife Becky, because I happened to see on social media. We had met as runners years and years before, just casually.
Did you really? Okay.
I was doing some free running clinics in St. Thomas through the Y, and she was in it. She was learning to run back at the time, so I just knew who this person was, and I saw that she was heavy into kayaking. So I actually sent her a message asking what type of kayak would be best for a person like me to get, and so she answered me, and then I kind of looked. I was single. Oh, is she single? Well, so we ended up going out so she could tell me in person about kayaks and kayaking, and we were together every single day since that. That first date, and I found a kayak just a few days later and bought it, and so that's one of the things we do together, as well as the cycling.
Oh, that's so cool. I found myself the last 2 years now. I'm getting more and more thoughts into it. I've had friends that have done all the rivers around here in Elgin,
right?
And I thought, man, that was something, because I kind of fell in love with it. I bought a raft a long time ago at Canadian Tire. I paid about $600 for this. It was it was an inflatable dinghy, but it was the really hard rubber.
Okay,
it was more of a professional one.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a battery and a trolling motor.
Oh, okay.
And I used to go the Magnetawan River up in north of Huntsville, Burks Falls.
Nice place.
Launch in Burks Falls. They have all the free dock, because all my family lived up there, right?
My
mom,
beautiful.
My mom, my sister, my brother, they still live there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mom just passed away a couple months ago, so I guess we got to take her out. But anyway, I remember taking Mom on the boat, the dinghy, got her in there, and the trolling motor. But what I fell in love with was the quietness and just the hearing nature.
I think we all need that, and there's many studies now that show the benefits of being out in nature, very tangible health benefits. So you're absolutely
summertime
right.
A lot at night. I go up on the roof of this building, especially when thunderstorms come, because I love storms. So I watch them, right? But it is a totally different world when you can go up, just sit there, and just listen.
I hear you.
And just listen to the city.
I hear that. Exactly. Yeah.
It is really calming.
Yeah.
It is amazing how it just
drops
blood
I know what
pressure.
you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
All right, so I'm going to
thank you for joining me on the show about our famous St. Thomas residents, Tony Bendel.
Yeah, right. I'm going to show a couple of pictures here when I bring these up to you, so you don't even know what I got here.
No, I don't.
I'll be putting these up on the screen. So you are crazy.
There's the most accurate thing you've said today.
Absolutely crazy. What's going on here, Dennis?
Okay, again, my adventurer wife and I,
Yeah.
we were, she loves the snow, and you know what? Through her, I learned to love it a lot more than I did. I was okay with it, but yeah. This is in Traverse City, Michigan, and we're on a little winter adventure, and the hotel we were staying at, which is right on the lake there, they had an outdoor hot tub, and quite a little trek from the hotel, and
Yeah.
it was like minus 15 that day. And
Oh my.
yeah, so we were just doing the quick little jaunt to the hot tub.
Oh, so you were on your way.
On the way to
oh
the
my
hot
God.
tub.
See, you should have done it the other way, because if you did it coming out, you wouldn't have felt the cold right away.
That's right. And Becky had her phone, and she turned around and she just snapped that picture.
That is so
But she
cute.
was in a bathing suit as
I'm
well.
going
so.
through your Facebook looking at some of it, and I'm like, oh, look at that. I can't even do that. But this one I like. This one is a pretty cool shot. And this is what we were just talking about. So
Yeah.
I like that. There's
Yeah.
just something about.
Yeah. Well, this is cool. This is bringing up some really warm memories for me as well. This was 2 summers or 3 summers ago.
Okay.
I was just Facebook friends with a couple of kayakers, mainly just because we were kayakers, and
Yeah.
they discovered me or I discovered them, and we just would yak once in a while. And a really nice fellow, Lauren Cherry, he was my Facebook friend, and I think he was feeling. I was diagnosed with leukemia, blood cancer at the time, and he saw that, and he was going on a bit of a camping kayaking adventure, and he invited me along, and just coincident, and so we went to a lake just south of Algonquin. I'm forgetting the name of the lake now, but kayaked and camped for 3 days, and that's what was
Nice.
that was what was going on there.
Well, I guess talking to other kayakers too is cool, because you can learn of, oh, you got to go to this spot, or you got to go to this lake.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they were wonderful people.
But how
wonderful
many
kayakers.
amazing areas that we even have around Vocal?
There
you
is.
know,
There
that
really is.
People wouldn't even think about.
No, when you're in a boat, and that's the main, what I use mine for, is to get me to places that I wouldn't normally be able to get and see views that you normally wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah.
Because even launching in Dalewood and going up the creek, you see things in a totally different way and light than you do hiking around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a different experience and a different feeling, being on the water for sure.
All right, so we are talking jumbo train.
Yeah.
There it is. So
Yeah, look at those good guys.
is that a? Do you have an idea where that photograph was taken?
That was 2019 Princess Avenue Theater.
The Princess Theater.
Playhouse.
Isn't that
Playhouse, yeah.
that is such a nice venue.
It is. We're
It
so
really is.
lucky to have that. I'm so glad they preserved that. They're good people who run that place.
You've
That
heard the
was,
ghost stories on that place too, haven't you?
Yeah, and last time I was
So
there for something,
fascinating.
there was 3 bats flying around in the ceiling,
Oh, was there?
which
Oh,
is pretty
cool.
cool. But yeah, that's Lori Ladd, Kim Ladd's the bass player's wife, helping out on vocals, and Kim is just out of the. There's a running joke about the bass player never making it into the shots, and here we have
there's-
Kim, my bass. Sorry, Kim.
And it's
And
and,
you-
usually it's the
best-looking guy in the
drummer
band.
that the drummer's the one that usually never gets
Or
the recognition,
drummer,
right?
Yeah, and that's Miles on the drums, and Guy over there on lead guitar, and some
You got to get
long-haired
back.
hippie
You got to
in the
get
middle.
back out.
Yeah.
You gotta
Okay.
get
Well,
back
you're
there.
inspiring me. I think you're right.
No, you do. The stuff, the music, people. You got to go to Dennis's YouTube channel. Watch it.
Okay.
There's some good stuff. This looks like, I'm going to
You're
guess.
scaring me.
No, this is a good one. Queso Station, I'm going to say. Looks like an art show.
Yeah. Oh, that was this.
Pardon the old photographs here. I mean,
Yeah.
just black and white laser,
No,
right?
this-
But
this
all the
is-
color, everything.
This is going back, and I'm not sure.
So
I've
most
done
of your work is nature scenes? Is that kind of what you paint?
That's mostly what I think best known for now
Okay.
is doing the stylized landscapes. And again, they're
But that's cool, because you could do these now from memory of
yeah,
your
and I will
kayaking
take pictures
trips.
and do sketches.
Yeah.
This painting in that photo was actually from a photo I took from the kayak.
Okay.
I went to Killarney and out into Georgian Bay
Yeah.
and kayaked around until I found a little island, just a tiny little island, and set up
Wow.
camp on there. And I stayed there for 4 days and kayaked around it. And there was this was a view from the kayak of actually part of that island that I camped
My
on.
other half, Suzanne, mentioned something about I think she said she has one of your pictures, something about a couple of white owls or something. There was something you did with owls. And
Probably.
she said, yeah, it was a long time ago anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and I think...
So you're still painting now, are you?
I am, and that's what I find it difficult to do to the best of my ability, music and visual art in tandem at the same time.
Okay.
So I tend to focus for periods of time on one or the other, and just lately it's been painting and sculpting. And I think you can age more gracefully and better as a painter and sculptor than you can as a performing musician. I don't think I'm over the hill in that regard yet, hopefully. Yeah. But looking forward, I think that
I wish I even had the talent to do that.
But I think art created from, like for me, I can't speak for other artists, created from a real life experience. Yeah. For me, it turns out better and has much more meaning than something you researched on the internet or something. So pretty much all of my paintings, I make sure they're
That's one of the reasons I love Peter Robson, his artwork, right? Because he did a lot of the Union area and he traveled all over the world, but he did it where he was there and stayed.
He was a wonderful painter. I remember when he had a studio
in Sparta.
There. Yeah. No, but he had one in that building as you're coming into town on Talbot. That's now apartments. And for a while, there was spaces up there.
Yeah. Okay, yep. Well, that's
That's going back.
That's going back a long time, yeah. Because I know they lived out in Copenhagen at one time.
Is that right?
Peter and Eleanor, and then in Sparta, they hit the Abbey. So Peter was doing a lot of work in the studio.
Okay.
They bought that building, I think, after they bought the Abbey. And then he had his set up there. Actually, until Eleanor just passed away recently, you could go to the studio and then to the house, and the whole entire studio from Peter was exactly the last day he put the brush down before he passed away, and she never touched it.
Is that right?
You could see the piece he was working on. Everything was there.
He certainly put Sparta on the map.
Yeah. Peter was. Absolutely. I used to see him all the time at the Stars game, Timken Center,
walking
around. Him and Eleanor. Yeah. So now this picture, it's cool, but it's not.
No. Okay.
You're there. You're smiling, but it's sad. I find it sad. I really do. But yet,
don't get me tearing up.
No, but it's.
I'm an emotional guy.
It's a hell of a fight.
Oh yeah.
That's a hell of a fight, man.
I don't know why I did that. I was about to get into my car, and I thought, I think I have to record this.
But I find that powerful
for to look back on.
So you had blood leukemia?
Yeah, I was having some strange symptoms. I noticed lymph nodes were very badly swollen.
Really? Okay.
Went to the doctor, and he said, well, I think that's probably just your body fighting some sort of infection, but we'll send you out for blood work. And of course the blood work came back with huge red flags, and then he said, well, I think we need to send you to an oncologist or a specialist, I think is what he said. And I said, okay. And he said, it's probably nothing to worry about. Very, very low key still.
Yeah.
And so I went off to this appointment, and it's at the London hospital. I went in the main doors on the hospital and went to the information. She said, this is over, next door, A building. So I got back in the car, drove in there, and they parked in front. I saw that sign, London Regional Cancer Program.
Oh my God.
And that was the first time.
They hadn't even told you.
No, I didn't.
Thinking cancer.
I'm going to the cancer clinic, and sure enough, we did the blood work, and the oncologist came back and said it's a CLL leukemia. It's a blood cancer. There's no known cure, but we do have very good results in controlling it, and it can be very, very slow advancing. So those are all the positive news. I said at this stage, you seem to be okay. Let's just do a watch and wait, and we'll do blood work every few months, 6 months, I think, at the time, and if and when we need to go to chemo intervention, I've had good results with that, so I don't want you to worry.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. One bit of advice that's kind of interesting because he said, between you and me, we're not really supposed to give anecdotal advice. But if there's any way you can lower any stress in your life as a cancer patient, and I'm saying this because I think might be able to help others.
Well,
he said.
absolutely.
And I wasn't experiencing a lot of stress in my life at the time, but anything you do to lower stress, he said, I can't tell you the number of times I've seen a patient that was doing well, and then they have a big stressful event in their life, maybe a loved one died, and literally weeks later, their cancer is blooming. So that's the only advice I'll give you in the meantime.
And how do you relieve stress when you're sitting in the cancer clinic?
Exactly. So I think I've said I'm not much of a watch and wait person, so I like researching things. I like facts. I like studies that are, bona fide studies. And so there's a Dr. William Lee who's becoming more popular in the States, and he started off as a doctor, and now he's a food research scientist.
Okay.
And in their laboratories and in studies, they've identified many foods that seem to assist our own bodies in fighting cancer, because our bodies are fighting potential cancer cells all the time.
Right.
So I read his articles and listened to his videos, and others and other cancer organizations have lists as well. And I compiled my own list of foods and started making daily smoothies, just packed with all these foods.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating badly at the time, but there was always room for improvement. And after I get through breakfast and lunch now, and over the past 2 years, I've already had up to like a dozen specific foods that have shown in studies to have positive results fighting cancer. And with every blood test, my numbers were coming down. Coming down.
So you never physically had to go through chemo?
I didn't have to go through,
good for you.
through chemo. So on the last time I went to the cancer center, I had the blood work, and the doctor came in the room, and he scared me. He's looking at the blood work. He's looking at this paper, and he's looking at me, and he's looking. And he'd never seen a remission, a spontaneous remission, which is remission without any medical intervention. He hadn't had a patient yet that had done that. It's only about 0.5% in those cases that achieve spontaneous remission. And so it's gone, not detectable in my body. And he said, not even going to schedule an appointment for you. If things change, if anything happens, let us know. So that's been a couple of years now. So
I guess that's a fear of everybody, right?
Yeah.
That C word is just.
So I was lucky, and then lucky again but I think it shows the power of nutrition. I don't think we've untapped that yet in our typical
I'm a
North
firm
American
believer.
diet.
I said it when COVID hit. I'm a firm believer. I said there's nothing on this planet that can't cure you.
Mm-hmm.
It's here already. You just got to find it in nature.
Yeah, food as medicine is a very real thing. I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's where I am now.
Well, I'm so happy that way. I'm working on an upcoming episode right now. I want to do an episode on breast cancer.
Mm.
Not just female. I have actually the vice president of the company that I work for has just gone through that.
Is that right?
She has breast cancer, and I would like to eventually bring her in. The other one, though, I really want to talk about is male breast cancer. We don't hear a lot about it, which I've talked to a fella here that has gone through that journey and learned that Dr. Batoni at the hospital here in St. Thomas, also there's a thing called the Batoni Project.
Okay.
And it's all about male breast cancer.
Is that right?
So I've got emails out to the doctor and the patient.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try and bring them both in.
Okay.
And do a whole awareness on that kind of cancer and male breast cancer, and then we'll also then talk about the female side.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot more prevalent in females, from what I understand.
But it's very high in males, and a lot of people don't think about it.
No,
they don't think about it.
Didn't know.
So that's something that we're kind of working up on. Keep it informative.
Very good.
Listen, you got to get back out, get the band going.
Okay.
You got to get the music.
All right.
You guys are good.
I'll tell them. I said, Tony said we got to get back together. So.
Yeah, we'll get you some venues. You gotta. It's you know it's been tough. COVID killed a lot of groups.
Yeah.
It killed a lot of groups. Venues, people. I asked Jamie Warren when he was in last year, and I said, when you go out and play, are you finding the attendance coming back? Yeah, but it's still not.
Is that right?
It's still not there to what it was. Now, a year later again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's funny how people, it really isolated people. And then they learned that they could do things on their own without associating, right?
Yeah, we have to relearn
I think
socialization.
It's got to. It will come back.
Yeah.
It's coming back. You see them more and more again, right? But
Well, I think I'll slide back in, maybe doing some solo shows because
yeah,
I have to get back up to speed myself before I hop in there. So
that's
yeah,
yeah.
I'll
That's
do
all right.
that.
Dennis, thanks for coming in, man.
Hey, that was
I
great.
so
Great to be
appreciate
here.
it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you on camera. So I got a song I want to play at the start. I'm
Okay.
gonna play another one of your videos at the end. So
Okay.
you don't mind that? We'll
Don't
get it out
mind
there.
that at all. Go
So
ahead.
everybody, yeah, they can get a little bit out there, and
All right.
it'll be some of your jumbo train. And,
Okay.
yeah, it was really good.
Oh, I
So,
appreciate that.
Dennis, thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you, Tony.
I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
everything you do
Keep-
for St. Thomas.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. It's fun. So you keep doing the kayaking, get the
All right.
pictures out there.
All righty.
I won't see at my door anymore delivering my mail.
No,
so.
you will not. I'm happy
gotta-
with what I'm doing now.
Okay, awesome. All right, folks, Dennis Kalichuk. There we go. Look at that, hey? I'm all tongue twisted now. Dennis Kalichuk, former Canada Post. You would have seen him all over the city. Jumbo train.
Yeah.
Good singer. Yeah, not too bad. Good writer.
too bad.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of the things, just quickly, do you like to write about? When you're doing your music, is it past experiences? Is it, what is
Yeah,
it?
usually. It's usually some emotional event, whether good or bad. There's a lot of
Okay.
love, coming and going events, new love, old love,
Yeah.
things that have happened. And usually there's some emotional explosion, and then pick those pieces up and put them back together into a song. Again, like the
Okay.
paintings, if it's something you lived, it's
Where can
gonna
people
be
see
a
your
lot.
artwork?
artwork. You can go to denniskalichuk.com.
Okay.
I'm not in
I'll
a
put that up
private
on the
gallery
screen.
at the moment, just because
Okay.
I'm quite busy with paintings and doing commissions. But yeah,
Okay.
I have lots of paintings and work.
So if somebody has
on the
something they
website.
want you to do, they contact you and
Yeah,
see
exactly.
if, okay,
Yeah, it's
awesome.
usually
So
pretty fun.
I'll put your link up. Yeah, music. That'd be cool. All right.
All right.
Check out Dennis's Facebook page and YouTube channel.
All right.
He's got a YouTube channel out there. Got some pretty cool stuff. So
It's there.
thanks again, Dennis.
Thanks,
All right,
Tony.
folks, take care, and we'll talk soon. Keep watching. Thanks. There we go. Awesome.
Perfect.
I'll shut that off and.
Good job on the research there, man.
They say that time flies by when you are having fun. True enough, I'm sure, but feels like this has just begun. Give me 50 more years like these, I think I will survive. And oh, baby, tonight I'm 25. You are so beautiful, I cannot look away. When you look back just inside that cloud. Let your beauty